Let's roll it, girls.
Hey there, welcome to this episode of Elvis and the Pink Cadillacs. We're your rock and ride guides, Victory
and Skylar,
ready to take you on a pink hue journey through the Elvis's life and music.
But hey, quick heads up, we're not experts, just Elvis-loving gals having a blast in the pink Cadillac.
Our info might have a funky beat, but it's all about the fun, not the perfection.
Picture us dancing in the back seat, sharing Elvis tales, interviews, and good vibes.
Join our sisterhood of fans, share your Elvis stories, and let's roll together.
So buckle up, because with Elvis and the Pink Cadillacs, every journey is an adventure. Hi, guys.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Elvis and the Pink Cadillacs. This one's really special.
Yes, we have Shelly Powers, the author of Elvis Remembered, here in the studio today. We're about to let her in a couple minutes. We are so excited. I have the book right here, so I'm going to show you guys what it is.
Same. And if you follow us on TikTok and Instagram, you guys have seen us reviewing this book, and we also did a giveaway with it.
We did, and we want to give a special shout out to FireFly Books and Shelly for gifting us with these books. A lot of times creators get gifted collaborations, right? But I want to be 1,000% honest, guys. This is actually a really good book. The past month or so,
beautiful.
We've been reading different. It's a bunch of interviews in this book.
So
okay?
many.
It's very easy to read. There's a bunch of pictures. It's like a coffee table book in a way. But they're very interesting. If you really get a taste of the personality of these people that she interviewed, and they're all people that were close to Elvis, knew Elvis, all in the Elvis realm. So I want it to be known that just because we were gifted this, we don't have any contract or anything that's give a good review of this book. We genuinely love the book.
And we're 100% with you guys. If we didn't like a product, even if it was an Elvis Presley book and we didn't believe in the morals behind it, we wouldn't support it. So
1,000%.
We love Shelly. We love what she's done. She has been so sweet. We've been getting her cute little videos that she's been tagging us on her page. FireFly Books have been so kind to us. And we're so excited to speak with Shelly today and just get more information on why she wanted to create this book. What was her inspiration behind it? And what made her choose these specific people to talk to?
Exactly, 1,000%. And before we go ahead and introduce Shelly, we are going to do one last giveaway with this book. So you now have 3 chances to win this book.
I feel like that is
that's a lot.
That is so rare. That is so rare.
Yeah. So after we're recording this on Saturday, November 11th, Happy Veterans Day. First of all, if you're a veteran,
thank you.
Thank you for your service. Seriously.
Thank you.
We're recording this today. You guys will hear this on Wednesday, so we're going to give you one more. So we were going to have the winner of the giveaway be announced on Wednesday, but I think we should give one more day just in case someone listens to this and they're like, there's a giveaway. So we will announce the giveaway winner on Thursday. I think it's 11/16 is the day. We're going to put up the giveaway details right after this episode, so you guys, it'll be all there on our page to enter. And yeah, you could win this lovely book. We want you to have it.
It's hardback. Hardbacks are expensive.
Guys, and there's so many. Hello? I just opened it.
Happy Veterans Day. Oh.
Thank you to our
Thank you to our Army Elvis.
Thank you so much. So yeah, guys, please welcome to Elvis and the Pink Cadillacs, Shelly Powers.
Shelly Powers.
Hi, Shelly. Welcome to Elvis and the Pink Cadillacs.
Gorgeous girls, good to be here. You're so lovely. I've been following you a bit, and you're just, it's amazing what you've done. We were just saying earlier, you've just come from doing nothing really to blowing up the internet. It's fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Gosh. Thank you. As soon as Shelly entered the group here, she has been like a ray of sunshine. Her personality is contagious, and you can't help but smile when you're talking to her.
I love that. One of the nicest compliments that I ever got I think it is in the book. When I was interviewing Jerry Schilling at Patty's house, and that was amazing. I felt, well, I'll tell you about, I know I'll probably jump from one subject to the other, but
of course, that's fine.
So you'll have to bear with me. But when I was talking to Jerry, I asked him a question, and I can't even remember what the question was, and he didn't answer the question, and he turned to Patty and he said he would have really liked her, meaning Elvis.
Yeah.
And Patty said he would have loved her. And that to me was the greatest compliment that I could ever be given, that Elvis would like me.
Yep.
You know? But yeah, gosh, that was probably one of the best interviews, I think, Patty. But go ahead.
Of course, but for the fact that the compliment came from Jerry, that says wonders.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a good-looking guy.
He is.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love how you mentioned that in the book too.
Well, there was a bit of flirting going on my side.
Yes.
Definitely. I mean, it's hard not to flirt with Jerry. Is he 80 now?
He's like 80 something now.
He's still so handsome.
Yeah. He is so handsome.
Yeah.
And he's even more handsome in real life. And when you're sat next to him on the sofa, you know, it's kind of difficult to concentrate. He's like, oh, he's gorgeous. And I'm sure, there was a lot of flirting. It was funny because Patty offered him a glass of wine, and he said, no, I'm fine, because I think it was early afternoon or something. And then when we got comfortable, he said, Patty, I will take that wine now. We were kind of like, okay, this is cozy.
Oh my God, that is like, what an experience too, to like interview both of them. Didn't you do it at the same time with both of them?
Well, no, I interviewed Patty first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then Jerry was going to go over to the gym.
Okay.
So he turned up in his gym clothes, but Patty had got on the phone to him and mentioned that I was there to interview Kurt and then go on to Myrna Smith's house. So he should come over. I had nothing prepared for Jerry.
Wow.
So I wasn't sure how it was going to go. So I called up the president of Elvis International. I said, there's a good chance I could be interviewing Jerry Schilling. Do you want to get some questions together? Does anybody want to know anything apart from what, I want to ask him myself? Yeah. So it was all very, very quick, but it just was so natural, it kind of, we got talking about his friend. It really sort of flowed, and, it was just like, I don't think any of my interviews they weren't like an interview. And I've said this before, it just felt like I was having a conversation with, it was two people having a conversation about somebody they loved.
Yes.
And like I said, I've loved Elvis since I was a little girl. My family loved him. And so just like you and I, sitting down talking about this very special person. So all the emotions came out, the funny things, the sad things, and it just flowed, and I think we could have carried on talking, but there's got to be a cut-off period, especially on that day where I did 3 interviews in one day.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot to intake too.
Yeah, it was Patty first, Jerry, and then Myrna Smith.
Okay.
And because Patty was so heavily on my mind, when I got to Myrna's house, I said, "So, Patty," and she says, "No, I'm Myrna." I'm so sorry. And he says, "No, she's going to be around for a while." And that's the thing. Patty, she did leave this impression. She was just, she was a straight talker, She just was like, she was funny as anything as well. So funny. And she had that gravelly voice as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was, I loved her. I'd have to say, if you were to ask me which was my favourite interview, it's really difficult because they were all great for different reasons, but I think Patty's was one that really left an impression with me that I felt almost like I don't sound kind of weird here, but I felt his presence afterwards. I really did.
Yeah. And it's funny because I recently read Patty's and I loved it because I didn't know anything about Patty, honestly. And I love how you can feel her personality through the page. Like you didn't what I love about your interviews is you didn't edit anything out. Like it's literally the whole interview. And you can really get you can really get people's personalities from that, and her personality showed through so much, and she just kept saying like I was Elvis's little sister, like we were just like brother and sister, and like the story of how they met is just like so funny, like him just like driving by and she, like it's just I really loved her interview, and I can tell, like I had a feeling it was going to be one of your favorite ones because I was like they just clicked, like it flowed so well, and it was so interesting too. Like I felt like I learned a lot. Especially throughout like all the people that you interviewed. Like some of them I was like, oh, I actually don't really know who they are, but then I would read and I was like, wait, they're so interesting. Like Ed Bonja, like I just read his the other night, and he was like, it was so cool to learn about him and his little blurb about that picture of him in the plane in the white suit. We're gonna post that excerpt in a little bit on our page from your book, because that is the coolest thing, how he explained that iconic photo, the story behind it. I loved it.
My goodness. And you know, there's a picture of me and Ed on his interview page, and I'm cracking up laughing.
Yes.
And I think that's where he told me about that story.
Yes.
You know, about what Elvis was actually saying to him when he was in the clean suit. Which was like, that's men talk, isn't it? You know? But it was really funny. But Ed was just so modest. And he, you know, he didn't get the recognition that he deserved.
I agree.
And I really tried to, you know, I tried to put that across in the interview. In fact, I actually encouraged Ed to do a book himself. And like, you know, you should do this, Ed, because you know, I think it would do really well. And then when he actually did bring a book about, and forgive me because I can't remember what it's called, but he started a book with my brother, and he said, you know, Shelly Powers encouraged me to do this, and there it is. But it was very frustrating for Ed because every time he released a photo of Elvis, it would just be all over the internet, and people would just use it. And he had a lot of images that he hadn't even released.
Oh my goodness.
So many pictures that he shared with me that have never been seen before of Elvis.
Wow. I wonder, like, where they all are today.
You know, because Ed moved to Berlin in Germany. He loved Germany. And I know he spent his last few days there. And I feel really sad because I didn't speak to Ed for the last few years of his life, and I wish I had. You know, when you have that regret.
Yeah.
And I wish I had reconnected with him because we did have a really good bond, and he trusted me, and he said, "Hey, Shelly," he actually gave me these images, and he said, "You know, you do what you want with them."
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So I do have some of these pictures, and my brother has them.
Awesome.
So. Yeah, but no, I remember, I think in the interview he talked about how he'd said to the Colonel, look, I want some recognition for these pictures. And I think, you know, when they have these pamphlets for the concerts, these brochures and things, in tiny writing at the very bottom, it had Ed Bonja, nothing major. So he never really got the recognition that he deserved.
Did you share any of the photos in your book that he took?
There was an image of Elvis that I've actually got on my website that, and I think he's in a brown outfit, and he's got his arms up like this and he's singing. Now that's one, I don't know whether they put it in the book because at the end of the day, with the publishers, we give them all the material. I had to sit there like you are with the head set on. I had to listen to all my interviews. I had to transcribe everything. And so everything was sent over to them. Basically I told my brother and then what I wanted, what the ideas I had. So, but then they kind of picked out some of the images. So I believe there are some pictures in there, if you look through them, that haven't been seen before.
Amazing.
The images are awesome. I mean,
they are.
I have to pinch myself when I saw the book. I'm so happy with it. I love it. It's like, even today, you know, when I think about it, I kind of get a little bit giddy, and so you have to excuse me if I do get a bit giddy, because
no, I love it.
So privileged, so fortunate to, you know, be able to sit with these people, and they just really opened up to me. And I remember when I saw Sonny West afterwards. You know, I used to see Sonny a lot after the initial interview, and we went for dinner one night at the Canary Casino, and you know, I loved Sonny. People have mixed, you know, emotions about Sonny. They have these, you know, some people like him, some people really dislike him. You know, if you met Sonny, you couldn't help but like him. He was just like this big old teddy bear. He was like a little boy, really. He was so, you know, I felt his pain through that book, the first book that he'd written. And it's difficult, really, because he didn't want that to be his legacy to Elvis, to be the final thing. And I think that came across in the interview as well, you know. So it's difficult. Everybody has an opinion, don't they?
Yes,
My
1,000%.
Sonny was, I really liked him. He was very sweet, very kind. He got quite emotional. He teared up when he was talking about his friend. And
I feel like it's good to have differing opinions, though, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But the one thing that everybody had in common was that Elvis was put on this earth for a reason. He was a gift from God. He had this God-given talent that you don't see now. He could do everything, and he was modest as well. And when he was on stage, he came alive. He had so much charisma, so much sex appeal, so talented. You know, and off stage, he just was, you know, humble, modest, quiet. You know, he loved to talk. He loved to, he was always searching, as you probably know, looking for answers. And when I interviewed Larry Geller, that was quite apparent, that he just wanted to know, you know, about afterlife. What happens? Where do we go? You know, why are we here? Always searching. And in fact, I have a copy here of a book, The Impersonal Life. This book, I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
This was one of Elvis Presley's favourite books. And Larry gave him this book.
Yes.
A copy of this book. And then one time he told Larry, I want you to go out, I want you to order 100 copies of this book. And everybody he came across, he said, here, you've got to read this. You've got to read this book. It's brilliant. Now, I actually haven't had the time to read it. But, Larry really turned Elvis on to the books about all different kinds of things, spiritualism, everything. Which didn't go down well with everybody. You know, he wasn't a firm within the Memphis Mafia. But I found Larry to be very interesting and a gentle soul, you know, and he could talk. Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
I think it's so cool the way that you talk with these people too. It's like they light up whenever you bring up the topic of Elvis, and each person brought out a different side of Elvis. You were able to see multiple parts of him, which I find fascinating.
Definitely. With Joe Esposito, I was kind of a bit nervous about interviewing Joe.
Okay.
With Jerry and Patty, the doddle, you know, it was like talking to two mates, really. With Joe, Joe's all business. And, but, you know, I did get him to giggle, and I was a bit cheeky, and it got a little bit naughty at times. Not crude or anything, but we did have a laugh about a couple of things. And he, you know, he admitted that all the men at that time were very naughty. They were all very naughty. None of them were faithful to their partners. And you know, it must have been very difficult because they are thrown into this show business lifestyle where women are just there, available, and you know, it's difficult. There was none of this. He did make a point of saying there was none of this thing where, you know, you sleep with me, I'll get you to meet Elvis tomorrow. It was not that kind of thing. Okay. But they were a little bit wild and a little bit naughty. And he said afterwards he felt really bad about, you know, because he had then gone through a divorce with his wife. Elvis had gone through the divorce with Priscilla, and you know, it's when you look back and you think, wow, you know, I could have done things differently. And Joe was still friends with his ex-wife, but he was very honest, straight talker, and he was a lot of fun. Once he loosened up a bit, it was great. Yeah, it was a really good interview. And again, and I used to see Joe afterwards at the where was he? At the Wynn Casino. He did a little bit of work there, so I met up with him afterwards, and a really nice guy. And as you know, he went way back to the army days with Elvis.
Yes.
With Elvis when he met Priscilla, the night he met Priscilla.
Yes. Actually, I want to talk about the fan club that you were a part of at first that got you to do all of these interviews. Please tell us about the Elvis International Fan Club, how you became a part of it. Like, what was your journey with all of that?
You know, when I look back at Elvis International, I kind of look, I mean, I've got so many fantastic memories, but I also feel a little bit sad as well because of the way it ended up. You know, Jason Edge was the president of the fan club, and at one point it was huge, and it was a friend of mine, this wonderful Scottish lady, Marion Meach, who's still a friend of mine, and she was saying, you know, you must check out this fan club, it's great, etc. So when I did, I thought, wow, this is really good, it's a really cool fan club. So I joined, and then because of you know, I jumped on board and I was posting stuff, but because of where I lived in Vegas, I had access to, you know, all these Elvis conventions, and I was close to LA. So I remember going to an Elvis convention. It was and there was like Darlene Tompkins was there, Cynthia, Ed Bonja, and I got talking to Ed, and I said to him, you know what, I think it would be really good if we did an interview, because he was telling me about, you know, how it was with Elvis and Tom Parker. I said, I'd love to have an interview with you. And I went back to Jason, and we both said, yeah, it would be really cool if you could maybe, it was going to start with just one interview. And then the interview was so well received that Ed, bless his heart, said, you know, I could get you some more interviews if you're interested. Wow. So it kind of went on from there. And you know, he knew everybody. You know, he knew Jerry and Patty, and I'd met these people anyway, like I said, these Elvis conventions, and I would just push my way forward. I was really cheeky, and I go, hi, and they'd be like, oh, you know, I love your accent, and I'd go, oh gosh, and so, you know, I'd get chatting to them, and yeah, they probably thought I was a bit cheeky, but then that's what, you know, that got me the interviews, and yeah, so that's how it started. Okay. And it was amazing. When I think about it now, gosh, I still can't believe it. But I sat with these people that spent every day. Yeah. This amazing man every single day.
And what's cool is that you did it in person too. Like you were face to face with them. You got to see like their real raw emotion. Nowadays a lot of things are done through a screen, like we're doing now, which is awesome because we could literally talk to anyone from anywhere. Like you're in the UK right now. What is it, 4 p.m. for you? It's 8 a.m. or it's 9:20 for me.
In the morning?
In the morning, yes.
Oh my goodness.
11:21 for me in the morning.
So Vic, I'll call you Vic.
No worries.
Where are you, darling?
I'm in Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida. And Skylar, where are you, lovely?
I'm in Arizona.
Arizona. So you're not far from Vegas then?
Nope. We actually were just in Vegas together recently at the end of September, and we went and did all the Westgate International things. We went on the stage, toured backstage. Like, it was the best experience ever. Like, we love Vegas.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
We got to see the suite and everything. Gordon was so nice to take us everything.
Yes, we did. What? Yeah. And it's all redone. It's not the same at all. It's nothing like what it was back then. They completely redid it, but it was really cool to actually be in that space. I mean, it's still the same space it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And
it was special.
Yeah, the stage was oh my God.
Did you feel almost like his presence, even though it wasn't the same?
Yeah. And the elevator specifically, going from backstage, coming up to the stage.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Because the elevator is still original, and it's like the same like button. It's the same elevator that's backstage to bring him up, and it was very like eerie, kind of like and
same water fountain, everything.
Yeah. Thinking, oh God, this is he traveled in his elevator so many times.
Yeah.
Before he was about to go on stage. I know. Yep. Yeah, like Joe was saying that when he went down, he had to make sure that because you couldn't see anything when you were going out on stage, you had to make sure there was no wires he was going to trip over. You had to make sure everything was perfect. You know, I mean, Elvis was always nervous before he went on stage, but he absolutely loved it. He never got tired of it.
Yeah.
People would say, some people say, oh yeah, he was tired of performing, he was bored. I think from what I can gather, because I wasn't there, but just through speaking to these people, I think Elvis was probably bored of touring the United States. I think he wanted to branch out. He wanted to tour Europe, and I think that definitely the Aloha from Hawaii was there to pacify him, if you like. And it's really sad. That makes me so sad when I think about what he could have done. He could have done so much more if he was allowed.
Truly. And that was a theme. That was a theme in your book, that everyone said they wished that he just died too young. Like they wished that he lived longer.
That he said, he should be here sat with us now on the sofa talking about his life. I mean, you just
oh my goodness.
You look at Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck. I mean, he's not as big as Tom Jones now, but they're still going strong, and that should have been Elvis. I think he was really held back. It's tragic. It is. It's something that just will make us sad every day. It's just.
Oh yeah, we wake up and we know that he is no longer with us, and we never had a chance to see him, and we're just constantly sad. Constantly sad.
It is. It's like, like Cynthia was saying, if he looked down and he'd be like, wow. Because, one of the things that he always used to say was, I was just a truck driver from Memphis, and he's just, oh goodness. I mean, there was nobody like him. He stood the test of time. He's bigger than ever. He will always be the greatest entertainer that ever lived.
Yes.
Amazing person in every single way. Fantastic. And nobody's perfect. I mean, when I was talking to Sonny West, he said he could have a really bad temper. But then, I think he got that from his mother, Gladys. She too had a really bad temper. But he, like they said, he was a prisoner of his own fame, if you like. But I've just been so fortunate. I've loved every single person I interviewed brought something different to the table. And but they all said the same thing, that he was the most generous, kind-hearted person, humble, very loving. And also the other thing was, you could talk to Elvis about your problems, and he would listen, and he wanted to fix things, and he wanted to make everybody happy, and he loved to give. he loved to see the expression on people's faces, because he'd come from a very poor background, like Jimmy Velvet. And so to be able to give was something that he was so proud of. He, like I say, he loved to see the expressions on people's faces. And he just gave. And his generosity was just out of this world, amazing. So they all said the same thing about that. Getting back to Sonny, I recall him saying that he got quite angry at times. Well, maybe angry is the wrong word. He'd get quite passionate and upset about the fact that people would accuse him of being a hanger-on. And he was just doing his job. He was his bodyguard. He was, Elvis would want to give people gifts. They weren't just hanging around just to see what they could get out of Elvis. If Elvis bought anything, everybody in the entourage would get the same thing. So yeah, but like I say, everybody has opinions, and everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yeah.
I just take what I was given from these interviews, and I form my own opinion of all these people. And I love each and every one of them. I did. They were all amazing people. And the love for Elvis was 100% genuine.
I have a question for you. This is not something we talked about, but I wanted to know if you probably have thought about this. If you had the chance to interview Elvis, what would be a question that you would want to ask him?
I think, given the way things are right now with Priscilla and all this stuff that's going on because of the movie, I think, and it maybe if it wasn't being recorded as well, if I was sat down and have a one-to-one with Elvis, I would like to have said to Elvis, do you think there was a possibility that you and Priscilla would have ever reconnected and got back together?
That's a great question.
What are your,
That's a valid question. And that's one I feel like people don't bring up. I feel like they always ask about the music or like different things. But that's a very valid question, because it's always that thought, especially when you think of like Elvis, that he wanted to get back together with Priscilla. And that's what Priscilla expresses as well. So it'd be really cool to hear his side of the story firsthand.
Definitely. I mean, the thing is, again, like I say, everybody's entitled to their opinion. I'm a sat on the fence kind of thing. And I won't say either way, it's difficult. I mean, looking back on Joe Esposito's interview, he said that there was no two ways about it, that Elvis did love Priscilla. And, living that lifestyle, it must have been very difficult. I mean, he gave her everything that she wanted. Absolutely. Yeah. But I think from what I can gather, she just wanted a husband. She wanted alone time with him. And Joe said they were there all the time. Even on the honeymoon, they were there, obviously not in the room.
Yeah, yeah.
They were down the hall somewhere or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that must have been very difficult. And who knows? I mean, we don't know. The only two people that really know is Elvis and Priscilla. And
exactly.
I think that Linda Thompson was very good for him.
Yes.
I do.
Yes, we agree.
We love Linda.
Yeah.
I do too. I wish I'd have got to interview Linda. I didn't get to interview her. But I'd have loved to have spoke to her.
Maybe in the future there might be a girlfriend's book.
Are you
can interview?
I was thinking actually, because I've tried to put it across when you talked about Patty's interview, the emotion comes through, especially like when we're talking about Ginger Alden. She just would not go there. Who?
Yeah,
who?
Yeah, she wouldn't talk about her.
No. But with these interviews, I think I'd love to have done an audio to complement this book, because you can really, I have all the audio, I have it all recorded.
Oh, wow.
And I think it would be great to be able to just, you're almost in the room listening to the banter, if you like, as well, that was going on between Jerry and Patty. The two of them were at it. It was so funny. Like, you know, when they were sat there side by side during the interview, Jerry looked to her and he says, "You need to turn around because you're going to make me depressed." She was looking at it. He was so cheeky with that. I'm like, "Oh, you know, don't be mean." Like, you know, Patty's lovely. And then and the way they were at each other, but you could tell there was this mutual respect as well. But it was really funny. We were talking about, I mean, you won't know anything about this, the flower pot, Bill and Ben, the flower pot men. Anybody in England around my age will relate to Watch with Mother and the flower pot men. And because, you know, Patty came over from England to America, and like she said in her interview, she was expecting to see cowboys and Indians. That sort of thing. Yeah, which she said, you know, meeting Elvis, it changed her life completely.
Yeah.
Oh,
completely.
I can only imagine. Yeah.
But getting back to the audio, you can, if you listen to it, you know, I think there was a teaser. I think FireFly posted a teaser of the audio of Patty saying about how she felt about Elvis. He was her brother. He changed her life. She gave up her life for him. She never had any children.
Yeah.
And it was actually quite sad, you know, when Patty would call me up sometimes. I don't know if I mentioned it in the book, but after the interview, we stayed friends, and it would be like 1 a.m, 2 a.m. in Vegas, and the phone would go off, and it would be Patty, you know, and she'd say, "Hey, girlfriend, are you awake?" And I'd be like, "Well, I am now, Patty." And she just wanted to talk about Elvis, her friend.
So sweet.
There was this huge void, you know, once he'd gone. And, you know, and Patty would say that Elvis used to come and see her. "Oh, he visits me all the time," like it was nothing. You know, I think, did I tell you the story about the ring?
No. Please
well,
tell.
after the interview with Patty, and just before Jerry Schilling had arrived, she said, "Just hold on there, I won't be a second." She disappeared into her bedroom. She came back, and she had a little box, and she took out this ring, and it was oh my goodness! First of all, she put it in my hand. It's the heaviest ring I've ever held. It was a big, thick platinum band with 2 of the biggest pear-shaped diamonds I've ever seen. It was beautiful. And I held it, and she said, "Yeah, Elvis gave me that ring." And I was just looking at it. And then I was stood there, and the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. I felt, honestly, as if, and because I'm a great believer I do believe that we're not here on this earth for all this time, and then you're just gone. You know, I do believe there is definitely something else. And I felt the hairs on the back of her neck stand up, and it was I felt as if he was there looking over my shoulders going, "Yeah, that's a gorgeous ring, isn't it?" You know, I said, "Oh God," I said, I've got shivers." And she said, "Oh, girlfriend, he comes to see me all the time. He talks to me." Yeah, she did. And I looked at her, I thought, you know, has Patty been on the Patty water? Because she would carry a bottle around, you know, with her. She called it Patty water, bless her. And it was her favourite tipple. But yeah, she said, you know, she said, "I go to sleep listening to Elvis. You know, I play his music all the time." And I know I'm going on about Patty a lot, but she did. She just left her mark. She was just an amazing lady, and the love was so genuine. But they all were brilliant in their own way. Every single interview, like I said, had something.
It feels like
interesting.
They were very connected on very many levels, Elvis and Patty.
And he found her funny. You know, she made him laugh.
Yeah.
She was saying, like, during the interview, how Elvis laughed for half an hour. His laugh is very contagious. And she was telling a story how she punched the monkey in the chest. This monkey that used to go around.
Scatter.
And the monkey went flying back. She said Elvis laughed for half an hour. It's a funny thing. But so I totally believe that I believe that he knows, he's very much around now. I think he can, you know, he knows what's going on. And I think he's probably really proud, and he loved his fans. Some of the stars today, you know, they don't have the time for the fans. And they it's not for them. They wouldn't be where they are.
Exactly.
But Elvis had plenty of time for his fans.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And the interviews that you did just showed the people that Elvis surrounded himself with were one of a kind, truly within their own. And even when they were talking to you, you weren't only interviewing them, but you made like lifetime friendships after that as well, which I find amazing.
Yeah. I know. I can't believe it. I think what it was I think we had such a laugh. And I think, you know, Elvis loved British humour. He loved Monty Python, didn't he, as we all know. And there was a movie that Sonny West was going on about. I think it was a scary movie. I'd have to refer back because it's quite a while now. But I think it was Children of the something about the corn or something. Anyway,
Children of the Corn.
Yes,
yeah, horrifying movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I haven't either.
I love that movie.
Don't watch it.
No, is it really scary?
Yes, don't do it.
Yeah, no, I probably will. But Sonny was saying he loved that. He would watch it. And the Monty Python, they would have to sit and watch it with him over and over, and they would be falling asleep, and Elvis go, wait, wait for this bit, you know, watch this bit. And yeah, so I think he really liked the British humour, and so I mean, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I think with my interviews, you know, it was quite light-hearted most of the time. So I think they found it quite easy to talk to me. It was very relaxed. I mean, with Myrna Smith, you know, I sat in her bed, in her bedroom. We sat there cross-legged, and we were both giggling like two schoolgirls about Elvis, you know, and how sexy he was, and
they were so personal.
It was, yeah, they were, and I think that's the key, you know. It just kind of, they just flow. And don't get me wrong, you know, Cynthia, she's like the little girl next door, and butter would melt in her mouth. But I tell you what, she had me blushing when I tried to find out that when the camera stopped rolling, did the kissing carry on, and did it carry on after that? She's, I never kiss and tell.
I know, when she said that, I was like, ah.
Yeah, well, we know what that means, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes, you know, and I'm like, yeah, of course you did. I mean, how can you not resist Elvis?
Right.
Seriously. I would just be putty in his hand, you know. It was probably very hard to resist Elvis. Yeah, I know. Poor Priscilla, when I think about it. You know, because...
I know.
You know, the thing is, I can relate, really, because, you know, my dad was very, very good-looking, a very good-looking Irishman, very charismatic. My poor mother had the same deal, you know. Women would just throw themselves at him. And you know, going back, and I'm not making excuses up for Elvis or for my dad or for anybody from that era, but going back to that era, you know, a lot of men, as wrong as it is, they have mistresses, and, you know, they have the wife at home that was looking after the family and all that sort of thing. And it was kind of, and I don't think they really saw anything wrong with it. Obviously today we wouldn't put any with that crap, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah. But then I think there was a lot of them at it, sadly. So yeah, I'm glad that times have changed. I'm sure that it still goes on, but anyway.
I think that it's always like good with context, and especially like you have to think back to that time period all the time. I feel like I always find myself saying that because a lot of people like to judge like things that Elvis did back in the day, and it's like, well, the times back then were so different than they are now, and people will be like, well, it doesn't matter, and I was like, but it does matter.
It does matter.
That's the thing.
It was so different.
You know, the other thing you have to remember is that Elvis would get very lonely. I mean, you know, like a lot of them said, it was the show to the suite, from the show to the suite, and that was it. So, and sometimes Elvis would have, you know, I can't remember who it was that told me, one of the interviews, they said that Elvis would have a girl, you know, come to the room just to sit and talk, just to sit and talk, and he would get his books out and he just wanted to talk to somebody. You know, or if he, I think it was Sonny, that said that Elvis would have been a great preacher, because
that
when
was
they
Ed,
used to go to the suites, and yeah, he you know, he just wanted to talk about life and everything, and but performing was his life. And one lady asked him, you know, what do you do when the shows are over and you get back home? And he says, gosh, you know, I don't know. I cannot wait to be back on stage. He'd lived to perform.
He did. He really did.
It, you know, robbed him of his private life and everything. And like I say, he was a prisoner of his own fame, but he just loved to perform, loved his fans. He became alive on stage, as we all know. He's just something else. Amazing.
He really was.
Do you think that you'll ever release any of the audio that you have?
You know, I'm actually thinking about it, and I would love to do it. And I don't know how good the quality is. I think we would have to get somebody to play around with it. But I think if I did an audio book, and you know, they'd have this book, so they could actually refer to this book and listen to the audio. Oh, sorry, darling. And they yeah, it's like you'd be in the room with us. And I think that would be an amazing thing to do, especially with Sonny's, because it's almost like, I don't know if it comes across in the interview, I don't want to use the word pleading, but he was trying to get his point across, that his love for Elvis was genuine. And, you know, it certainly came across to me 100%. And, you know, and like I say, there's some really funny moments as well. So I think, if I did decide to release that audio, I think it would be brilliant. It'd be great for them to listen to. It'd be fantastic.
It would.
So, yeah, that's something that I'm definitely going to look into. I mean, if people would want that, if the fans would want that.
Yes. We can speak for most of them.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think, so I have a question for you girls. So do you think that the book has been well received, and are people happy with it? I mean, from what I can see, they are.
Yeah.
You know,
I think so.
Like I say, my friend Michael Comley said, you know, there was no agenda to this book. It's just, you know, I did the interviews for the fan club, and I wanted to just find out more and get it from the people themselves that were so close to Elvis. So I was very fortunate in doing that in person. And and then I just thought, you know what, why not share it? You know, that's what they would have wanted.
Yes.
Every single one of them. When I gave Cynthia the copy of my book to her, she was overjoyed. She looked at her chapter and could not believe it. I mean, you know, she's like, oh my goodness, there's so much in here, and loved it. And I'm really sorry that Darlene and Joe, you know, and the others have passed away. I'm so sorry that they haven't got to see. I'm sure they can see it.
Yeah.
But to actually hold the book and enjoy it. You know, it's really sad, like we said before. All these people have passed on, and I think this is a way of keeping their memory alive as well as Elvis himself, you know.
Yeah.
Myrna, I mean, she was a wonderful person. She was so lovely to interview. Especially Ed. I mean, you know, he's really got recognition for his photos in this book.
Exactly.
So I'm very happy.
And I don't think that people realize how many iconic photos that Ed took, because when I went on Pinterest, I wanted to post some of Ed's photos and really kind of talk about him a little bit, because I honestly didn't know who he was, and I really enjoyed his interview. And I went on Pinterest, I searched up, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I had no idea all of these photos that everyone, like you said, everyone's posting them every day on Instagram, because there's a big Elvis community out there. Yes.
If I do release the audio, or, you know, when you read his interview, you know, you can see that he's so complacent about it. It's like, oh, you know, it's just one of those things. What can you do?
Yeah.
Here he was taking all these brilliant images of Elvis, some of the best photos. You know, I think that one, did you post a picture of the fringe where his head's down?
Yes.
I love that picture.
Such a good photo.
It's amazing.
So good.
And he's so close to Elvis, and he's caught him just coming off stage, and you know, it's a brilliant photo. And like you said, not everybody knew who Ed Bonja was. But he's amazing. And I hope now that he gets the recognition he deserves. You know, the pictures of Ed in this book, I love that picture, the close-up of him at the beginning of his chapter. He was just such a sweet man. He really was.
And we can feel that.
I loved it. He came to England and spent a bit of time with my family. And I'm so glad I've got some wonderful memories of those times that I will carry with me for eternity.
You got to get a copy to Larry, because Larry is still alive as well. He actually lives in Arizona.
Oh, does he? Have you seen Larry?
No, he lives in Sedona. I know. He lives in Sedona, which is like kind of like an hour and a half north of where I live.
Okay.
We would love to speak to him someday if we can still. I don't know if he's still doing anything, but
I think he's doing a few little things. I watched a few clips of Larry. I don't know, probably from a couple of years ago. But, you know, at the end of Larry's interview, he said, you know, let's say to be continued. And I would love to talk to Larry again.
I think you should do a part 2.
Yeah. But, you know, the thing is with Larry, he had so much to say. And I felt like I almost had to cut him off, which I really regret. But at the time, we were supposed to be meeting Patty Parry for dinner afterwards. And I think I mentioned it, and she was blowing up Cynthia's phone, going, where is she? You know, I've got a table booked. So I was so conscious of the fact that Patty was waiting, but Larry wanted to carry on talking. And you know, when I look back on his interview, it was just brilliant. And I think he got a bit of a raw deal with some of the guys from his entourage. You know, I think he had good intentions with Elvis. Like I say, he turned him on to these spiritual books, and all good intentions. But like I say, the Colonel, I think, just wanted rid of Larry. And so there was a time there where he went away for a little bit. But Larry could have talked, and we could have gone on for a couple more hours. But boy, did Patty let me have it. That interview. Oh my God, she was sick.
Patty is such a personality. She is so funny.
Oh, she wouldn't even sit at my table.
I read that and I was like, oh my God.
I was in tears. Well, I was absolutely shattered because I'd done the 3 interviews, one after the other, and you know, I needed a stiff drink, and when I got to the restaurant, Patty's like, don't talk to me. No, I wait for nobody. And she's like, Patty, I don't care. I said, it was Larry Geller. I don't care who's Larry Geller. Who's Larry Geller anyway? You know, because I'm Patty Parry. I'm Elvis' little sister. And then she was just on a rampage. And this is what Patty was like. But this is what I loved about Patty.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she was like that about Elvis as well. Very passionate. Don't you talk about my friend like that. I mean, she, you know, this is what she's saying, how she would talk to some of the guys that, you know, would like take advantage of his good name, some of these impersonators, and she would just let them have it. And boy, did she let me have it that night. And I was so upset, and because I loved her so much.
Yeah.
And but I got the phone call afterwards, and you know, you know, Patty, she, I know she didn't mean it. It just really hurt me. It really did at the time. And I think I was tired and everything. And she called me up and she goes, hey, girlfriend. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. And she's like this. I'm going, no, it's okay, Pat. No. And then she'd go, you know, but you know what the thing is? And she'd go on again. And I just listen. I go, listen, Patty, I love you. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So it was all good. She had a moment with me, and I saw that side of her. But that's why I love Patty Parry, because what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
She didn't mince her words for anybody. She could let you have it. And the thing is, she spent all that time with these guys, the Memphis Mafia. She spent all these time, and she had to be tough.
Yeah.
She did. And
good.
And
she stood her ground.
Well, I said to her, would you say you're a little bit of a tomboy? I'm a very feminine woman, and she was, but she was tough. She was tough.
I'm a very feminine woman.
So don't mess with me. Yeah, I'll take your ass out. Yeah, I'll lay your butt on the floor. This is what, honestly, she was hilarious. She during the interview, she said to me, we were talking about, when we die, and we're supposed to be in our prime, we like Elvis would be how he was in his prime. And I said, she goes, well, should I go to be 21 again? And I says, well, I think, I'd be happy if I was what I was. And then she goes, well, how old are you? So, I lean in, and there's a picture, I lean in and whisper. And then she goes, 45, like this. I told her. Oh, she was such a monkey. Honestly, she was, she was very naughty. And but funny, we laughed so much, and she would take the mickey out of my accent. This is why I think you need to hear the audio.
Yeah.
I want to so badly.
Because I said to her, I said, so Elvis comes to see you? And she goes, yeah, he comes and he comes. And she's like, taking the mickey out of the way I talk, he comes and he comes. I'm like, talk like that. Honestly, she was so funny, just ribbing me all the time. But that's what made it so much fun. It was great. And, but then when Jerry sat down to talk, and we had a laugh and everything, but towards the end, it did get quite serious. And Patty, you could see she was really emotional, and Jerry even turned to her and said, "Are you okay, hon? Are you okay?" Because she was, getting quite teary. They spent every day with this man.
Yeah.
And they were a big part of his life, and he was a big part of theirs. And I'm so, so fortunate to have got to sit with them and talk to them about this amazing person. I still can't believe it. I still honestly cannot believe it, that I got that close to them and listened to all their stories. And they didn't hold back either, And they just, let it all out. And I'm so glad that I can share all these stories with you guys.
Well, we do have a few fan questions regarding the book. Yes. Yeah. The first question is from Rachel, and she's asking, is there any specific way that you wanted your book structured when you put it together?
Well, hi, Rachel. Not really. I didn't pick the format of the way the interviews, how they went, because the first interviews were Jerry Schilling, then Cynthia Pepper and Patty Parry. So it wasn't anything to do with who was my favorite interview or anything like that, Rachel. But all I did was I gave everything I had to my brother Adam. And I said, this is my idea. This is what I want. This was also before Lisa Marie had passed away.
Yeah.
So there wasn't a big focus on Lisa Marie. And I kind of wish that there had been a little bit more. Obviously, we talk about her. But no, it's actually turned out exactly as I wanted it to. I think it's just perfect the way they've done it. And I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Have you ever met Lisa?
I've seen Lisa. I've been in the same room with Lisa, but I actually didn't. It was in an audience.
Okay.
So I didn't actually speak to Lisa. I would have loved to have had a chat with her. I mean, what an amazing woman she was.
Mm-hmm.
And my heart breaks for her. It really does.
Same. Yeah.
That's everything.
that's the thing about
to enjoy. Yeah.
Like as time goes on, we keep losing people who knew and were close to Elvis. And it feels kind of like we're racing after time, trying to have experiences with these people and be able to hear their stories. And so I love how we kind of have like a little like time capsule in a way of like with your book with all those interviews, because so many of those people that you have interviewed are gone now. I think there may only be like 2 people that are still alive from your interviews, if I'm correct.
Larry Geller.
And
oh
Cynthia.
No, there's a couple more. There's Larry Geller, Jerry Schilling.
Oh yeah, Jerry. Yeah.
Cynthia Pepper.
Yes.
And also there's Jimmy Velvet.
Yes.
This was so funny. I have to tell you this.
Yes.
I've got to share this with you. Oh, it's so embarrassing as well. But so I get a phone call from my mom, and she says, "Oh my goodness, Shelly," she said, "did you hear that Jimmy Velvet had passed away?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, no!" And I couldn't believe it. And I was like, "No, it can't be true."
Oh, wait.
I said, "Are you sure, Mom?" And she goes, "Yes." He said, "Yeah, and Jimmy Velvet." And she's going on like this. So I immediately messaged Cynthia, who actually is related to Jimmy Velvet. I think Jimmy Velvet is a cousin of Cynthia's.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh my God, I've just heard about Jimmy, da-di-da." I posted this little thing with pictures of Jimmy. And I was like, oh God, I was so upset. And I was thinking, why didn't I speak to Jimmy or, reach out to him? And anyway, so it went on. So next thing, Cynthia, she calls Robin up, who's Jimmy's wife, and it went to voicemail. And she goes, "I'm so sorry to hear about Jimmy, da-di-da." So Robin phones back and she says, "Well, Jimmy's fine. He sat here with me on the sofa."
Was it Jimmy Buffett?
No,
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
Oh,
5 o'clock somewhere.
My God.
But Mom, I said, "Mom, it's not Jimmy Velvet. It's Jimmy Buffett." I what I should have done? I should have Googled it or something. But I was so upset to think that Jimmy Velvet died. And I'm like, so immediately me and Cynthia are going backwards and forwards. I'm like, oh my God, Cynthia saw the funny side of it. And I hope that Jimmy saw the funny side of it too.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure he did. Sure he did.
I will tell you though,
Jimmy
in Florida, Jimmy's alive, but we lost a national treasure here, Margaritaville, for Jimmy Buffett. So
definitely, I love that.
I knew exactly where that was going. I was like, it had to be Jimmy Buffett that your mom thought was Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, my poor mom. And she was mortified, my mom.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and now we laugh about it. I mean, when I met up with Cynthia and we went for dinner and we were having a giggle about it, and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm so glad that Jimmy is still around.
Yeah.
Because he was a great personality. He was so warm and funny and lovely and affectionate. I mean, he kept hugging me through the interview. He kept wanting to give me hugs. He said he'd had a couple of glasses of wine, but he just was like, he was so lovely. He goes way back to Gladys. But sorry, you did have some other questions from some of the people. This is what I do.
It's okay. You are so
love
great.
It. We love it. Seriously.
So you kind of already answered this question, but Lana's asking, was there anything specific about the order of interviews of the guest?
Who's this, Lana?
Lana, yeah.
Lana. Hi, Lana. No, not really. If I had to put it in order, should I tell you if I had to put it in order?
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think Jerry Schilling would be right up there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At the top. Because he's hot, and and I fancied him. But not only that, because he was very, very close to. Well, they all were very close to Elvis.
Yeah.
But, Jerry Schilling. I mean, he's still around, and I hope he's going to be around for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And his interview is very, very interesting. And I think Jerry would be right up there. I think Joe Esposito probably after. Larry Geller, Patty Parry, Ed Bonger. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Because they're all magnificent in their own right. It's hard to say who would be. Sonny West it would be really hard to say who would be put at the bottom. But like I say, there was no favoritism. It just, that's the way it went. And thank God I didn't have to pick that.
True.
How I wanted it. So that's not down to me. Okay, Lorna, it just, this is the way it came out. Yeah.
It made your life 10 times easier.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, definitely. That would be hard too, because they're so special in their own way. And like there's all these like personal connections that you made that are so different. So I understand. That's probably good that you gave it to your brother to deal with.
Exactly. Yeah. And every single one of them, there was something beautiful about every single person that I interviewed. You know, they all had this quality and you could see the love in their faces, and you could hear it in their voice, and the genuine, you know, they missed their friend. It just really came across that, you know, they were so grateful to have known this man as well, to have been a part of his life in some way, in some small capacity, or even like on a grand scale, like, as I say, Jerry Schilling and Joe Esposito, you know. So yeah, definitely they all miss their friend. And you know, isn't it weird, because I don't know if you can relate to this, but as Elvis fans, as somebody that's grown up with Elvis, don't you feel like he's, and I don't want to sound weird, but I'm sure every Elvis fan can relate to this. Don't you feel like he's almost family? Like family member.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like we're so connected. Yeah. It just feels like when you learn about Elvis and you dive deep into him, like there's just this, and he's been gone for so long now, right? There's just this like connection. There's like this, I always refer back to like a Taylor Swift song. Like there's like this invisible string, like attaching him to you somehow. And, even if you haven't met him, we haven't met him, you know? Like,
you know him.
Right,
yeah. You know, through his music, through the videos, through these stories, just through his presence. It's so bizarre. I don't think there's any, well, I personally don't think there's any entertainer that has touched everybody like in a way that Elvis has.
It's true.
His mark. You know?
I want to ask, when you were born, was Elvis still alive at all in the early years? Okay.
Oh yeah, very much so. He was. Like I say, you know, my dad would, he brought home a vinyl of Elvis, and he would sing Elvis in the bathroom, when he was having a bath or having a shave, whatever. Mum was just, when he came on the TV with a little black and white telly, and she might be ironing or something. You know, I was one of 5 kids, so she had a lot of ironing to do. So he would come on the TV, and she would just stop what she was doing, and she'd get this gooey look on her face. Aww. You know, it's like, and he was just, oh gosh. I mean, even then, you know, even at such a tender age, I loved Elvis. I would sit and watch his movies with my gran. And I think I mentioned as well, one of my favourite Elvis songs was, well, I've got so many of them, they change from day to day, but one of them for a particular reason was American Trilogy, or is American Trilogy, because when that came on, Gran would sit there, and we all had to, if we were there with her, we all had to sit there quiet, and she'd sit and she'd just be like this, and she'd listen and hang on to every single word, because his voice, you know, was so powerful and so passionate in that song, and she would listen to the very end, and it was just amazing. And when I listen to that now, you know, I think of my gran. It was just like, it was, you know, it trickled down through the whole family. My great gran, my dad, my mum, the kids, we all loved Elvis. So yeah, and he was still very much alive. And I remember where I was when, everybody remembers where they were when Elvis died. You know, August 16th, 1977. And I was staying in Scotland at the time. I remember a friend came down with a newspaper. I have all the old newspapers, by the way.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I wish I'd brought them out, but then it's a bit morbid as well. But I do have all the papers from that day. And, you know, it said the king is dead. And oh, gosh.
I can't imagine.
You know, like, felt like I'd lost a member of the family.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, millions of people felt like that, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't there, but I feel it now, and it's years later. So
I know it goes round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You weren't even born.
Yeah.
But you feel like, you know, and it goes on and on. It's because of the movie.
Yes. We love that movie so much.
You love that movie?
Yes.
It's the reason we're fans.
Yeah.
It's the reason why we're here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, then you have a lot to Austin Butler.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Austin, if you're watching this.
I know.
Yeah, he did an amazing job.
He did.
You know, I watched it 3 times, and every time I cried. And Tom Hanks, oh my goodness.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a brilliant movie. Everything was, you know, was spot on. And you know, Jerry, the argument with the Colonel, it was just fantastic. And I think that helped to gain more fans as well, new fans.
A new generation. It made like Elvis relevant for sure, and it put it in a perspective that our fans love.
Yes. And it's interesting because in your book, I'm pretty sure it's mentioned like Elvis is like at the peak of like everyone knows who Elvis is, and he's passed for so long. But I feel like now again, we're at a peak again because of the movie, and it reignited this new generation of fans, and it like rejuvenated like Elvis's spirit in so many people. And he's so big right now. Like, I mean, he's always been big, right? Everyone who know who Elvis is, but like right now, it's
so relevant.
Amazing.
But, you know, year in, year out, you know, millions flock to Graceland, and that speaks volumes, you know.
It does.
I remember, you know, Patty telling me the story about how later on after Elvis had died, she met up with Dr. Walker, and they went through the gates of Graceland, and as soon as because she wanted to go visit his grave, and when they went through, it started raining.
Yeah.
And she stood by his grave and was like, you know, why did we have to lose you so young? And as soon as they got back out, the rain stopped.
Oh, so, my gosh.
I think everybody, have you been to Graceland?
I have. Victory has not yet, but she will be very soon.
Vic, you have to go.
I'm excited.
I can't wait.
Oh, it's on my bucket list.
Yeah, maybe when you go, let me know and we can meet up or something.
Yeah.
I'm going for Elvis's birthday.
Are you? In January?
Yeah.
I would love it. I would say don't go in August. I mean, the atmosphere is amazing, but it's so blooming hot.
Yeah.
It is so hot, and it's that. Well, which one are you from, Florida?
Victory is.
Me.
Yeah. From Florida. Okay, so you'll know about that humidity.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I, coming from England, I couldn't, it was just, it nearly killed me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But anytime you go to Graceland is a great time. I think I'm going to go back to the States in the spring. I've got a wedding to go to. My nephew is getting married in New York. And that's in March. I'm going to go back. So I think I'm going to head back to Vegas after that. So probably April. I'm going to go. And Cynthia's going to come stay with me at my hotel. So we have some proper girl time.
Yeah. As you should.
Because she's in a position to do that. You know, she's so healthy.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
She has her Steve that looks after her. He's a great man. He's brilliant. He's English. And I love Branston Pickle. When I was coming over, I said, "Do you want me to bring you anything, Cindy?" She goes, "Well, I'd love some of those Yorkshire tea bags." And Steve wants some Branston Pickle.
Oh,
you don't know what that is, do you?
No.
Well, it's a jar of like pickle For all you British people, you don't know what Branston pickle is, but anyway, it's great on a cheese sandwich.
Okay.
If you put butty, it's amazing. Maybe if I meet up with you, I'll bring you some Branston pickle.
Perfect. Please do.
Let us know when and where, and we'll be there.
Let's try and sort it out. Definitely.
Yes.
Yes, we would too.
We would too. It would be awesome.
Okay.
Shelly, thank you.
Something to work on for next year, maybe.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I would love to meet up with Jerry as well at some point.
Yes.
But I think he's so busy. You know, he's doing this thing with the Philharmonic Orchestra, and so yeah, you know, I want to see these people that are still around. You know, Jerry, and I would love to see Larry, and definitely Jimmy Velvet.
Yes.
So I'm see if I can try and arrange that.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Seriously. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us and for for the book, and we love the book so much, and we're not just saying that. Like we genuinely enjoyed reading these interviews. I feel like we've learned so much with just people that we don't think about all the time. So I think it's just so interesting to learn about them and really like get their personalities through the interview. So thank you.
I think it's really I think it's really important as well, because like you say, these people, you know, they aren't around, and they spent every single day with Elvis, and it's really important that all their memories are captured. I mean, there is bits, you know, around the internet about different things, but these interviews, like I say, you know, are where, you know, we sat down and really got to the nitty gritty, and like these people aren't with us anymore, and that makes me feel sad. But then I feel so humbled that I got to spend this time with them, and I'm so happy to be able to share all this with all you beautiful people out there that keep his memory alive. So thank you to everybody that's bought this book.
And where can they buy your book if they want to purchase it?
Well, you know, I know Barnes and Noble have it, and
maybe
also Amazon, Target. If you're in England, I know you can get it at Waterstones. I think you have to order at Waterstones, but yeah, there are a lot of places you can get hold of it. Even the little bookstore where I live in Lytham has copies of it. So I posted a picture of me stood there the other day. Like,
yes, yours adorable.
Yeah. So if you haven't got it, then you know, check it out, because like I say, it is a beautiful book, and I'm really, really happy with it. And I think they would be proud. You know, Ed, Sonny, and Patty, I think they all would love it. I know Cynthia loved it, so it makes me really happy.
And if anyone wants to reach out to you, what are your socials? What social media are you on?
They can find me on Instagram and on Facebook, and I think in the book as well. And you know, we did this fan page as well. This is brilliant. So I wish I could have made it bigger.
It's so beautiful. There's a
fan page there, but yeah. So there's an email there at the back if anybody wants to email me as well. If they did do another edition, you know, I could put in, if they want to send me Elvis pictures, I'd be happy to, rather fan pictures, I'd be happy to add them to the book.
Awesome.
Whatever. I'd love to hear their thoughts on it. But I really genuinely hope that they love this book. It's a good coffee table book as well.
It is.
It's beautiful.
You should have. And
that's the first thing I thought was a coffee table.
Yeah.
I was like,
if you know anybody that loves Elvis, I think they'd be happy to get a copy of this book. I hope, anyway.
Yes, 1,000%.
Thank you, girls. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. You're so lovely. And you are.
So are you.
I will continue to, I'll watch your shows, your podcasts. I will follow you eagerly. And like I say, I'm really, really happy to been able to talk to you and share things with you today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you're always welcome back on. Yeah. Like always.
Anytime. If you're doing an audio book or anything, we'd love to have you back on.
Let us know.
I will. Well, I'm looking into it definitely. Mm-hmm. So when I hear back from Lionel, you know, he's with FireFly, or I'm not sure how I'm going to do it, but But if I do decide to do this, because I would love you to actually hear these interviews.
Yeah. Yes.
And you know, if the fans think they would like to hear them properly, then yeah, I'd love to do that. For that to be available to them. Definitely.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, we will absolutely keep in touch. And Shelly, thank you so much again.
You're very welcome. And we'll try and work out a date when we can meet up. And,
yes, absolutely.
All right, darling. We're having some Vegas days in Vegas, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Okay, then. Well, thank you. Well, I'll say goodbye and I'll let you go because I hate goodbyes. I do.
Oh, no.
But listen, to be continued, right?
Yes, to be continued.
Thank you to anybody that's been watching this podcast as well. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, awesome. Thank you. Okay, right, well, goodbye.
Bye. See you soon. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Elvis and the Pink Cadillacs.
To connect with us, follow us on our socials at Elvis and the Pink Cadillacs on Instagram and TikTok.
And share your Elvis stories and experiences with us at elvisandthepinkcadillacs@gmail.com, and you may be featured in the next episode.
We'll see you next time, and for now, TCB
and TLC. Bye!
Bye!